In today's video and blog post, I want to share something with you that is actually an experiment. It's an experiment that I'm going to be doing, a tool I'm going to be using for 2018 that I believe will make me more productive and an overall better entrepreneur. Hello, I'm Shane from ActiveGrowth.com, and the tool I'm sharing is a simple spreadsheet that I created that I will be using in 2018 to track my focus skills, the books I'm reading, and challenges. And so right here, if you just want to get the thing, if you just want to get the spreadsheet, you can download that on the post. If you're watching this on YouTube, click on the link in the description and you can get the spreadsheet. I'll briefly explain what it's about, and then I'll also explain in more detail what the point of it all is and my thoughts behind it. This is the tool I was talking about. This is a Google Docs spreadsheet, and in the post there's a link. You can click on that and you can get a read-only view on this, and you can make a copy of this. So you can copy this into your own Google Drive folder and then start working with it. And you can also download it from there if you want to use it offline. So as you can see, what we have here, we've got three categories: challenges, focus skills, and books. And we have got 52 boxes, and each box represents 1 week. So by the time you reach box number 52, that is the last week of 2018. And the idea here is that this is a big picture view of tracking some of the larger things you're doing. So this isn't the daily habit tracker kind of thing, but it's a bigger picture view of what you're doing. And challenges, focus skills, and books are all things that happen on a larger scale than just daily habits, which is why I created this tool for myself. So here's how you'd use this. Let's start with an example. Challenges, this is where you would track your challenges. That would be things like, a typical example is a 30-day challenge, where you challenge yourself to do something every day for a specific period of time, or to avoid doing something every day for a specific period of time. So 30-day challenges are typical, but it can be a 10-day challenge or a 100-day challenge or whatever. The point is that you set a specific time limit and you do something or don't do something every day. For example, say I have a challenge of 30 minutes of writing every day. Let's say, every morning I do 30 minutes of writing. And if I start this challenge in week 1, what I'd simply do, so in week 1, I would come here and I would color this box. And so I just make it light orange here to kind of let myself know, okay, week 1, this is the challenge I'm working on. And if it's a 30-day challenge, then it will presumably go on into week 4. So what I'll do, the way I'll work with this is that once a week I will check in here and update the list. So let's say it's week 2 and I'm still doing my writing challenge, and I would then also color this box here. And I've also added a new challenge. Let's say no Reddit for 30 days. That's another example of how to use challenges, is to keep yourself for something that's a typical distraction for you. And then I would color this box. So I start a new challenge in week 2, I'd color this box, and I would insert rows as I add more stuff. And over time I can get an idea of which challenges I've done and how long they've each lasted. And then the same goes for the other 2 categories. Let's do books first, because that's an obvious one. So books, I simply want to keep track of what I'm reading and how long it takes me to read books. And so here I simply enter the book title. And if I've started reading it in week 1, again, I'll just color this box here, start reading it, and I would color all the boxes. Let's say it takes me, 5 weeks to finish it. I'll just color all the boxes here until I reach week 5, and once I'm no longer reading this book, so once I've actually finished reading it, then I will no longer color the boxes. And for me, this is useful for 2 reasons. First of all, I'm usually reading more than 1 book, and I want to make sure that I'm not reading too many books at the time. I want to make sure that if I come here and I see, I already have 3 books in progress, let's finish one of them before starting a new one. But I also just want to have an idea of how long does it take me to get through these books, and maybe I can find some ways to optimize and read faster or read more. And then focus skills. So this one is a bit less obvious than the challenges and the books. So unlike a challenge, where a challenge is every day I do a certain thing, a focus skill is something I do anyway, but I want to remind myself to focus it in a specific way. So an example from my own work would be delegation work. To make sure that whenever I have the opportunity that I create, let's say, an SOP, a standard operating procedure document, or I create a tutorial on how to do something so that in the future I don't have to do it myself anymore. So that's not necessarily something I can do every day, but as I'm working, I want to remind myself, like, this is one of the things I'm working on, and make sure that whenever I have the opportunity, I create something that helps me hand this task off to someone else instead of having to do it again in the future. So that would be a focus skill, delegation work. Now on this note, let me also add that I will also use this to track personal stuff. This is not just for business stuff. And another example of a focus skill is something that does have a goal, but it's not clear when you'll reach it. And it's not something you necessarily do every day. So as an example, as a fitness goal, I have muscle up as one of my focus skills. So whenever I work out, whenever I'm at the gym, which isn't every day either, so that's another reason why it's not a 30-day challenge. But when I'm at the gym, I make sure to do some extra work on pull-ups and do some exercises that will help me achieve a muscle up. I don't know how long it will take before I can do that, but just every week where I'm working on that, I will color the box. So again, same principle, right? I'll just color the box every week I'm working on this. And once I've achieved my goal of being able to do, let's say, 5 muscle ups in a row, I can say this focus skill is accomplished, and I'll start focusing on something else. Another thing that might be useful to do here, especially for the books, is to kind of mark the start and end points, so that I really mark, like, here's where I started, here's where I finished. And again, not on a daily basis, but just in this week I started reading the book, in that week I finished it. So here's an example of what this could look like after a while, right? With the skills, for example, so I could see when I started with which skills, which ones are still in progress. And with books, I could have start and end lines that show me what I'm reading and when. And one of the purposes of this tool, of this spreadsheet, is to give myself an overview of what I'm working on and to give myself a weekly reminder of what's going on. So if I see that something's been dragging on for a long time with a book, for example, see that I've been reading the same book or maybe not been reading it for 5 weeks, it makes me go, well, let's finish this. It's kind of a reminder of, okay, next week I'll spend some more time to read this book, to finish it. And it's also something that should help me keep focused so that I don't try to do too many things all at the same time. So, for example, here's something I wouldn't want to see. Let's say it's week 5. And I look at this and I'm doing my check-in and I see, okay, I've got 4 different challenges that are all underway. So 4 different daily challenges. I've got 3 different focus skills and I'm about to add a 4th one, or I wanted to add a 4th one. I've got, 5, 6 different books. I've started 5 of them. I haven't finished 5 of them. And I was about to add another one. This would be an indicator for me, hold on, I need to focus, I need to slow down, because now I'm spreading myself too thinly, right? I don't want to be doing more than 2, maybe 3 challenges at any one time, because otherwise it just gets too much. And the same for the focus skills. Like if I have 15 different focus skills going, well, this is no longer a focus skill. I'm not focusing on anything anymore, right? So I want to have like 2 or 3 focus skills at a time, and I want to reach a goal and end one before I start a new one. And again, with books, like I said before, I want to make sure that I'm not reading 5 or 6 books at the same time. I want to make sure that I finish a book and then start a new one. So that's another thing that I'm getting out of this tool, is it gives me this, and there again, it's this reminder function, right? It has this function of a reminder where once a week I check in and I can see, where do I stand? Am I getting, am I spreading myself too thinly? Where's my focus? What should I start or stop doing for next week? Now, another thing that I hope this will help me do is put into perspective a bit better the amount of time I have. Because we tend to think of a year as a really long time. But if you see the whole row here, it's 52 little boxes, and every week you're checking one off, and you see, well, we're moving through this year rather quickly, and I really have to make sure that I'm working on what's important. I really have to make sure that the things, that the focus skills I have come to some kind of a conclusion. They don't just drag on forever. I want to make sure that, if I want to read all of the books I want to read, I have to finish some of them, right? I have to be efficient about that. So there it becomes this thing that puts time into better perspective. Now, this is not the only tool I use for tracking. In fact, this is just a weekly check-in, and I think this will be very useful for me, but we'll see, right? I haven't done this yet. But this is separate from task management and project management and daily habit tracking. And especially for daily habit tracking and what I call personal KPI, there are different tools that I use, and I'll be publishing a post about that as well. So once that's published, I'll also add a link in this post so you can find that. But this is like the big picture tool that I will be using for 2018 to keep myself better focused and get a better overview of what I'm doing with my life, basically. So let me know what you think of this. I hope you like this idea, and if you do, go ahead and make a copy of this spreadsheet and start using it. I'd love to hear feedback from you, and of course, I hope that this will bring value to my own life, and I hope it will bring value to you and what you do as well. Thank you for watching. I'm Shane from ActiveGrowth, and I'll see you in the next one.